This guy might be the most foolish father a child could ever have. He goes by the name Robert Miller. So, Robert is a 47-year-old man living in Maplewood, Texas, with his wife Linda and their only child, a boy named Mark Miller. Mark wasn't just their first child, he was their miracle child, born after 12 years of waiting, tears, prayer, and doctor visits. Robert adored Mark from the day he held him. To Robert, Mark was perfect. To Robert, Mark could never make mistakes. To Robert, Mark was the sun around which the world revolved. Linda loved her son deeply too, but she loved him with a balance of affection and discipline. She saw him clearly. She noticed things Robert refused to see. Mark lied easily. Mark took things that weren't his. Mark never admitted guilt. When Mark was 6, the trouble began to show. Linda had made a pot of spicy chicken stew for dinner. When she returned to the kitchen, 4 large pieces were missing. She called Mark. He walked in with oily lips and a nervous grin. Linda asked gently, "Mark, did you take anything from the pot?" "No, Mom," he said. "Maybe a ghost did." Linda frowned. "A ghost? Mark, don't lie. Tell me the truth." But before she could continue, Robert stepped into the kitchen. "What's going on?" "Mark took chicken from the pot and—" "No, he didn't," Robert interrupted sharply. "Mark would never lie to me." Linda stared. "Rob, the evidence is right there on his face. He's a kid. Stop accusing him. Boys eat. That's normal." Mark smiled secretly behind his father. And so the seed was planted. Mark learned that Dad would defend him no matter what. As Mark grew older, the behavior worsened. He stole loose change from Linda's bag. He took bills from Robert's wallet. He lied about homework, broke neighbors' windows, and walked away guilt-free. Every time Linda corrected him, Robert jumped to defend the boy. "He's just adventurous." "He's a kid. You're too strict. You always blame him." One evening, when Mark was 10, Linda caught him sneaking $100 from her purse. When she scolded him, he shouted, "Dad said it's fine!" Linda trembled. "Robert, this is getting out of hand." But Robert exploded. "You're always attacking my son. He said he didn't take it. Why can't you trust him? Why can't you trust me?" "Because you refuse to see the truth." Arguments became constant. The once peaceful home turned into a battlefield. Mark grew confident. Too confident. He learned another dangerous lesson. When Mom scolds me, Dad will rescue me. The breaking point arrived when Mark was 14. He stole $120 from Linda's purse and bought video games at a local store. Linda confronted him, and Mark denied it boldly. When she insisted, Mark yelled, "You hate me!" and stormed out. Robert burst out from the living room. "Linda, why are you always attacking the boy? I'm correcting him. Can't you see he's becoming something dangerous?" "He's fine. It's you causing problems." "I can't do this anymore," Linda whispered. "I won't watch you destroy him." The next morning, she packed her bags, crying silently. Robert watched her but didn't stop her. Mark didn't even say goodbye. Linda left the house, left the marriage, left the 2 males who insisted they didn't need her. And from that moment, Mark grew without boundaries. With Linda gone, Mark transformed into something bold and wild. Robert continued praising him blindly. Mark stayed out until 2 a.m. Mark brought home unexplained money. Mark hung out with rough boys. Mark fought neighbors' sons. Goats, chickens, and phones began disappearing around the neighborhood. Everyone knew it was Mark, everyone except Robert. Whenever neighbors complained, Robert replied angrily, "Mark would never steal. You people are jealous. My son is a good boy." But the truth was simple. Robert didn't want to know. Mark's ego inflated. He felt untouchable. At 18, he stole a neighbor's motorcycle. At 20, he broke into a feed store at night and sold stolen animals. At 21, he became known as the boy you don't confront. Each time he returned home with cash, Robert welcomed him with a proud smile. "That's my hard-working son," Mark laughed inside. His father wasn't blind. He was willingly blind. When Mark turned 25, he attracted the attention of a ruthless man, Caleb Hawk Hunter, an ex-military dropout and leader of a criminal group specializing in robberies. Hawk saw Mark's fearlessness and offered him a place. "Join us," Hawk said. "You've been thinking small. Let's make real money." Mark agreed instantly, and he joined them. The gang robbed highway travelers, small homes, gas stations, grocery stores, local banks. Mark loved the adrenaline. He loved the money. He loved the respect. And he loved coming home with duffel bags full of cash, handing Robert thick wads of dollars. Robert praised him with shining eyes. "My son is a successful entrepreneur." Mark bought a sleek Dodge Charger, a decked-out Ford truck for Robert, expensive shoes, gold chains, and filled the house with flat-screen TVs and new furniture. Neighbors whispered, but Robert plugged his ears with comfort. He saw money. He saw gifts. He saw benefits. He refused to see crime. One humid evening, Hawk gathered his men. "I'm tired of small time," he said. "It's time to make history." He placed blueprints on the table. The building name read, Federal Reserve Bank, Manhattan, New York. Mark blinked. "You want us to rob the Federal Reserve? That's insane." "Insane is where the big money is," Hawk said. "If we pull this off, we're legends forever." The gang trained for 3 months. Security codes, guard rotation times, building maps, escape routes, hacking systems, weapon drills. Mark didn't tell Robert the details. He only said, "Dad, I'm traveling for a big deal. When I come back, we'll be rich for life." Robert hugged him proudly. "That's my boy. Go and succeed." On a cold October morning, the gang struck. Dressed as armored truck contractors, they entered the facility. For a moment, everything went smoothly. But then, a silent motion alarm triggered. Within minutes, the building was swarming with FBI, SWAT, NYPD, federal marshals. A firefight erupted. 2 gang members fell. Hawk was shot in the leg. Mark tried to escape through an underground service tunnel, but a K-9 unit dragged him down before he reached the exit. Every member of the gang was arrested. The news spread nationwide. The FBI dug deep. Their financial tracing revealed Mark deposited stolen cash repeatedly. Mark sent large amounts directly to Robert. Mark bought Robert a truck, furniture, and luxury items. Many items bought with stolen funds were in Robert's house. Money laundering indicators tied both men together. To federal investigators, Robert wasn't a clueless father. He was a beneficiary and therefore a participant. FBI agents stormed Robert's home early one morning. "Robert Miller, you are under arrest for conspiracy, money laundering, and aiding criminal activity." Robert was stunned. "My son told me it was business money." But no one cared. The evidence was overwhelming. The courtroom was filled to the brim. The prosecution painted a clear picture. Mark Miller and his father worked together financially. Robert benefited from the criminal proceeds knowingly or unknowingly. His role in accepting and hiding stolen funds makes him part of the conspiracy. Robert cried throughout the trial. "I swear, I didn't know. I swear I just trusted my boy." Mark sat silently, staring at the floor. On the final day, Mark finally spoke. "Dad, you should have stopped me." Those words stabbed Robert's heart deeper than any knife. Linda heard the news from a distant town and cried, not because she was surprised, but because she foresaw this years ago. Judge Rebecca Jameson delivered the verdict. For armed robbery of a federal institution, conspiracy, illegal possession of stolen property, and laundering criminal proceeds, I hereby sentence both Mark Miller and Robert Miller to 95 years in federal prison without the possibility of parole. A cry broke from Robert's chest. Mark closed his eyes tightly, realizing his life was over. As marshals led them away, Robert whispered, "I'm sorry, son. I should have been your father, not your shield." Mark replied, "You should have let Mom teach me right. They were escorted to different prisons. A father and son destroyed, not by hate, but by blind love.